The sun is setting outside, casting a warm glow over the living room as I settle into my favorite armchair. It's supposed to be a peaceful evening. My wife, Melissa, and I have just finished dinner. She's been her usual affectionate self today, a bit more than usual, which I've learned to take for granted. It's part of our routine, our way of saying everything's fine. She's been humming softly while cleaning up, her voice floating from the kitchen. I'm flipping through the latest quarterly reports, feeling a sense of accomplishment. The business is thriving, and my investment in a new venture is paying off. Everything seems perfect, but perfection is a delicate facade, as I would soon find out. Melissa walks in with a glass of wine, her hips swaying subtly as she approaches. She sits down beside me, her hand brushing against mine. "How's the report coming along, love?" she asks, her voice smooth and warm. "It's good," I reply, smiling at her. "Very promising." "It's been a good year." She leans in, kisses me lightly on the cheek, and I return the gesture. I'm absorbed in the numbers, but something feels off. A slight unease settles in my chest, but I push it away. I'm about to get up and pour myself a drink when I hear a phone ring from the kitchen. Melissa's phone. She must have left it on the counter. My curiosity gets the better of me. I walk toward the kitchen, intending to grab the phone and hand it to her. But as I reach for it, I catch a snippet of the conversation. It's Melissa's voice, but there's a distinct edge to it, something I haven't heard before. "Can you imagine how stupid my hubby is, that he hasn't noticed our affair for 17 whole years?" Her tone is mocking, almost playful. I freeze, my hand hovering over the phone. Her lover's voice responds, low and smooth. "Oh yeah, and just in the last year, I've stolen nearly $1 million from his business. You can't think of a better humiliation." My heart races. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Every word is like a punch to the gut. I drop the phone and stumble back, my mind spinning. The room blurs around me. I need to sit down, but my legs feel weak. My wife's laughter echoes in my ears, a cruel, taunting sound. I pick up the phone, staring at the screen. The conversation continues, their voices dripping with contempt and mockery. It's a punch in the gut I didn't see coming. I hear her lover's voice again, filled with malicious glee. "And the best part? He still doesn't know. How pathetic is that?" My world shatters. Everything I believed in, everything I thought was real is a lie. Melissa, the woman I've trusted and loved for nearly 2 decades, has been deceiving me. The business I've worked so hard to build is being drained right under my nose. The pain is sharp and immediate, like a searing hot knife. Melissa walks in, her face brightening when she sees me holding the phone. Her smile falters when she notices my expression. "What's wrong?" she asks, feigning innocence. I look at her, my heart pounding. The trust, the affection, all of it is gone. I have to do something. I can't just sit here. I have to find out the truth and confront this head on. The peaceful evening is shattered, and a storm brews inside me. This is just the beginning. I have to take action. There's no turning back now. My mind races as I replay the conversation I overheard. Melissa's laughter still echoes in my ears. It's like a relentless drumbeat, drowning out any semblance of calm. I'm pacing the living room, trying to grasp the full extent of what's happening. I can't believe it. For 17 years, she's been deceiving me. And on top of that, her lover has been siphoning off money from my business. The betrayal feels like a physical blow, sharp and cruel. I need to find out the truth. I need evidence. I sit down at my desk and start to sift through documents, my hands trembling. I open the financial reports, trying to find any discrepancies. I've always trusted the financial team, but now with everything in question, I'm scrutinizing every line. I find irregularities, small amounts of money, just a few thousand here and there, that don't add up. But what really catches my eye is the larger sum that's gone missing in the last year. Almost $1 million. It's all falling into place now. My heart pounds as I gather all the evidence I can. I feel a mix of anger and dread. This isn't just about my wife's infidelity. It's about a betrayal that goes deeper, one that threatens my livelihood and my future. I need to act quickly. I hire a private investigator, someone who can help me gather concrete evidence on Melissa and her lover. The days blur together as I dive into this new reality. The investigator's reports are damning. Melissa's lover has been involved in shady financial dealings, and there are clear links between him and the embezzlement. Every new piece of information feels like another dagger to my heart. It's overwhelming. I don't know who to trust anymore. I confront Melissa one night, hoping for some answers, maybe even some remorse. We're sitting across from each other at the dining table. Her face is calm, almost serene. I can't keep the anger out of my voice. Melissa, I know about the affair. I know about the money. How could you? Her eyes widen in feigned innocence. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb with me. I've seen the evidence. I've heard the conversations. I know what you and him have been up to. My voice shakes with fury. She tries to maintain her composure, but there's a flicker of guilt in her eyes. You don't understand. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think, I snap, and I'm not going to let this go. She looks away, her face paling. You don't know the whole story. What's left to know, I demand. How much more humiliation do I have to endure? Melissa's silence speaks volumes. I leave the house that night, feeling like a man on the edge. I meet with my lawyer to discuss my options. The legal path is complicated. There's the financial aspect, with the embezzlement and potential legal battles with my business partners. There's also the emotional fallout. Melissa has been part of my life for so long. The thought of exposing all this feels like a personal defeat, but it's necessary. My lawyer advises me to start gathering more evidence and to prepare for a legal battle. I'm already ahead in terms of proof, but I need to be thorough. I continue to follow the private investigator's progress. We uncover more details about Melissa's lover, who turns out to have a criminal history, including previous fraud cases. It's like a web of deceit I'm unraveling, and it's all leading back to the two people I trusted most. Every day is a new struggle. I find myself losing sleep, consumed by the need to right the wrongs done to me. I go through the motions of my daily life, but my focus is elsewhere. I feel a constant, gnawing anxiety. It's a strange kind of adrenaline, mixed with the pain of betrayal. I need to be strategic. Melissa's lover, it turns out, has been more involved in the business than I initially thought. He's been manipulating financial records and forging signatures. It's a tangled mess, but I'm determined to get to the bottom of it. I meet with the investigator again, and we discuss our next steps. The evidence we have is damning, but we need to ensure it's airtight for the trial. The more I dig, the more I realize how deeply I've been betrayed. My wife's infidelity and the theft from my business are part of a larger scheme. It's not just about personal betrayal, it's about criminal activity that could ruin my entire financial future. I start to prepare myself for what's to come. The confrontation with Melissa is inevitable, but it's the legal battle that's going to be the real test. I need to be strong, not just for myself, but for the future of my business. I have to fight back, not just to regain what I've lost, but to stand up for myself against the injustice that's been done to me. As I look at the evidence spread out in front of me, I realize that this is just the beginning. The road ahead is going to be difficult, but I'm ready to face it. I've seen the depths of betrayal, and now I have to rise above it and take control of my life. I have to make sure that Melissa and her lover face the consequences of their actions. The thought of the trial looms over me like a dark cloud, but I'm determined. I can't let them win. I won't be a victim of their deceit. I will fight for justice, no matter what it takes. This is my battle now, and I'm ready to see it through to the end. The initial shock of discovering Melissa's betrayal is only the beginning. I've spent days obsessing over every detail, every conversation, every financial transaction that now seems tainted. It's not just a personal betrayal, it's a full-scale assault on my life's work. The fight to expose this deception and reclaim what's been stolen is far from over. I begin by reaching out to a close friend and business advisor, Tom. Tom's always been someone I trust implicitly, and I need his expertise now more than ever. We meet in my office, the same office where I used to feel secure and proud. Now, it feels like a battlefield. Tom, I need your help, I say, handing him the folder with the financial discrepancies. His eyes widen as he flips through the documents. This is serious, he says, finally looking up. You've got proof of embezzlement here, but this, he points to a document detailing recent transactions. This looks like it could be part of a larger scheme. Tom's analysis adds weight to my concerns. It's not just about Melissa and her lover anymore. It's about protecting my company from a scandal that could ruin everything I've built. We discuss our next steps. Tom agrees to help me uncover the full extent of the embezzlement. The days following our meeting are a blur of tension and activity. I'm consumed by the task of gathering more evidence. I sift through financial records, interview employees, and dig into Melissa's lover's past. Each revelation brings a mix of dread and determination. The more I uncover, the more I realize the depth of their deceit. One evening, as I'm poring over the latest batch of documents, I receive an anonymous tip. The message is brief but chilling. Stop digging or you'll regret it. The threat is clear, and it's the first sign that I'm not just up against a couple of traitors, but something more dangerous. I take the threat seriously. I consult with my lawyer, who advises me to increase security and avoid any direct confrontations with Melissa and her lover. The legal strategy needs to be precise. We work on gathering evidence that will hold up in court and prepare for the eventual trial. The tension in my personal life is unbearable. Melissa continues her facade of normalcy, oblivious to my growing resolve. I see her more as an enemy than a wife now. Our interactions are strained and fraught with underlying hostility. She's still affectionate at times, her touch lingering and her kisses more intense. But there's a coldness in her eyes that wasn't there before. It's a cruel game, and I'm caught in the middle. I hire a private investigator to follow Melissa and her lover, hoping to catch them in the act. The investigator's reports confirm my worst fears. They've been meeting regularly, and their interactions are as intimate as ever. I receive photos of them together, laughing, touching, their closeness a stark contrast to the cold reality of my situation. The investigation uncovers more incriminating evidence. Melissa's lover is deeply involved in the embezzlement scheme. There are emails, financial transfers, and even recordings of their conversations discussing how they're siphoning off funds. It's a well-orchestrated conspiracy, and I have to prepare for a legal battle that's bigger than I anticipated. The private investigator also uncovers a shocking detail. Melissa's lover has been manipulating not just my business, but also the legal system. There's evidence suggesting that he's bribed officials and interfered with financial audits. This complicates things further and makes it clear that the stakes are higher than I thought. I start to feel the pressure mounting. The constant fear of being followed, the threats, and the realization that my personal and professional lives are under attack weigh heavily on me. My only solace is the small victories, the pieces of evidence that confirm my suspicions, and the support I receive from Tom and my lawyer. One night, I'm unable to sleep. I walk around the house, my thoughts racing. I go into my study where I keep the most sensitive documents. As I scan through the files, I find something unexpected, a hidden account in Melissa's name. The account has been receiving large sums of money over the past year. It's a crucial piece of evidence that ties her directly to the embezzlement. I feel a surge of anger and resolve. This is the proof I need to confront her. I schedule a meeting with my lawyer to discuss the next steps. We plan to present this evidence to the authorities and file a formal complaint. The process will be lengthy and arduous, but it's the only way to ensure justice. The confrontation with Melissa is inevitable. I've prepared myself for it, mentally and emotionally. I know it's going to be a difficult and painful experience, but I can't let her think she can get away with this. I need to be strong, not just for myself, but for the integrity of my business. The day arrives when I finally confront Melissa with the evidence. We're in our living room, the same place where everything started. I lay out the documents, the photos, the bank statements. Her face goes pale as she sees the evidence. "This is it, Melissa," I say, my voice steady. "I have proof of everything. The affair, The embezzlement. You can't deny it. She tries to maintain her composure, but falters. You don't understand. I understand enough, I cut her off. This isn't just about us anymore. It's about my business, my life. You've crossed a line. Her eyes fill with tears, but I'm unmoved. I want you to know that I'm taking this to court. I'm exposing everything. The weight of the confrontation settles over us. Melissa's once affectionate demeanor is replaced by a desperate, pleading look. She knows the gravity of the situation, and her attempts to justify her actions fall flat. I leave the house, feeling a mix of relief and apprehension. The road ahead is still uncertain. The trial will be a battleground, and I'm preparing myself for the fight of my life. The stakes are high, and the challenges are immense, but I'm committed to seeing this through. As I look ahead, I know that the path to justice will be fraught with obstacles. I need to stay focused and resilient. This is not just about reclaiming what's been stolen from me. It's about standing up for myself and holding those responsible accountable. The conflict is far from over, and the next steps are critical. I need to ensure that every piece of evidence is presented, every detail is accounted for, and that I am prepared for the emotional and legal battle that lies ahead. The journey to uncover the truth and seek justice is just beginning, and I'm ready to face whatever comes next. I can hardly believe the moment has come. The confrontation I've been dreading, preparing for, is finally happening. My resolve is steely, but inside I am a bundle of nerves. I've gathered all the evidence, arranged the legal meetings, and braced myself for what's next. Melissa and her lover are about to face the music, and I am both anxious and determined. The evening is tense. The house is quiet, almost eerily so. I have scheduled a meeting in the living room where everything started and where I hope it will all end. The room feels like a battleground now. I've arranged the documents and photos on the coffee table, each piece a testament to their betrayal. Melissa walks in first, her face a mask of calm that does nothing to hide the underlying tension. She's wearing the same red dress she wore the night I overheard her. It's a cruel reminder of how close she was to me, how easily she played her double life. I notice how the dress clings to her curves, a perverse echo of the intimacy she shared with her lover. I push those thoughts away, focusing on the task at hand. Sit down, I say, my voice firm. I motion to the sofa across from me. She does so, her movements measured, as if she's trying to maintain control over the situation. I sit across from her, my gaze unwavering. Melissa, you know why we're here. I have the proof of your affair and the embezzlement. It's all laid out here. She glances at the documents with a flicker of panic before forcing herself to look composed. I can explain, she says, her voice trembling slightly. I don't let her continue. Explain? You've had 17 years to explain, and you never did. Now it's too late. I've got pictures, bank statements, and recordings of your conversations. This isn't just about cheating. It's about stealing nearly $1 million from my business. Her eyes widen, but she quickly masks her fear with defiance. You don't understand. No, I interrupt. I understand perfectly. This isn't just about you betraying me. It's about a systematic theft that could destroy everything I've worked for, and I'm not going to let that happen. The tension in the room is palpable. Melissa's defiance crumbles, replaced by desperation. Please, let's talk about this. There's more to it than you think. I lean forward, my expression cold. What could possibly justify this? You and your lover plotted this for years. You've betrayed me, ruined my business, and humiliated me. There's nothing you can say that will change that. Just then the doorbell rings. I know it's her lover, the final piece of the puzzle. I let Melissa's shocked expression fuel my determination. I get up and open the door. He stands there looking casual, as if nothing is amiss. He's wearing a crisp suit, his demeanor confident, almost arrogant. Come in, I say, my voice clipped. He enters, his eyes darting around as if sensing something has shifted. I lead him to the living room. Melissa's lover, James, takes a seat beside her. He tries to exude a calm facade but fails to mask the unease. What's this about? He asks, his tone trying to feign nonchalance. I dropped the folder of evidence on the table. You know exactly what this is about. I have all the proof of your theft and your affair with Melissa. Your games are over. James flips through the documents, his face turning pale as he takes in the gravity of the situation. Look, this isn't necessary. We can work something out. I shake my head, feeling a surge of satisfaction. No, James, there's nothing to work out. This is going to court. I've already filed the complaints, and your involvement in the embezzlement and bribery is undeniable. Melissa's face is a mixture of anger and despair. You can't do this. It'll ruin everything. It's already ruined, I say. You and James have made sure of that. All I can do now is see that justice is served. The confrontation escalates. James tries to negotiate, offering to settle outside of court, but I'm resolute. No deal, I say firmly. You're going to answer for what you've done. Melissa's pleas turn into accusations. You're just trying to make me suffer. You don't care about anyone but yourself. I remain unyielding. It's not about me anymore. It's about making things right and ensuring that you two are held accountable. Their frustration is palpable. Melissa's tears turn to anger as she realizes there's no escaping the consequences. James's composure falters and he starts to lash out. You'll regret this. I have connections, people who can make things very difficult for you. I meet his threat with a steely gaze. I'm prepared for whatever comes next. You've underestimated me from the start, and that's a mistake you'll regret. As they leave, the weight of the confrontation settles over me. The house is quiet once again, but it's a different kind of silence, one filled with the echoes of what's transpired. I feel a mix of triumph and apprehension. The trial is inevitable, and it's going to be a fight. I take a deep breath, trying to steady my nerves. The battle is just beginning, and I need to be ready. The stakes are high, and the path ahead is fraught with challenges. I've made my decision to see this through to the end, no matter what. The confrontation has tested my resolve, but it's also clarified my path. I'm committed to exposing the truth and reclaiming what's been stolen. The journey is far from over, and the road ahead is uncertain, but I'm ready to face whatever comes next. I start preparing for the trial, gathering final pieces of evidence, and reviewing the strategy with my lawyer. The intensity of the situation fuels my determination. I know the coming weeks will be grueling, but I'm resolute in my pursuit of justice. The final showdown is approaching, and I'm ready to see it through. The trial is finally here. The moment I've been working towards, fighting for, and dreading is about to unfold. The courtroom is filled with an uneasy silence, punctuated only by the murmur of lawyers and the shuffling of papers. I sit in the front row, my eyes scanning the room. Melissa and James are seated at the defendant's table, their faces masks of resignation and defiance. The reality of the situation is sinking in, and I am both anxious and resolute. My lawyer, Robert, leans in and whispers, "This is it. We've got everything lined up. Just stay focused and let the evidence speak for itself." I nod, my hands gripping the edges of the chair. Robert's confidence is a small comfort, but the gravity of what's at stake weighs heavily on me. This trial is not just about justice. It's about reclaiming my life and my business. The judge enters and the courtroom rises in respect. Once seated, the proceedings begin. Robert stands and addresses the court. Your Honor, the evidence we present today will show beyond a shadow of a doubt that the defendants, Melissa Hart and James Barton, engaged in a scheme of embezzlement and betrayal that has severely impacted my client's business and personal life. I watch as Robert lays out the evidence, bank records, transaction histories, and the incriminating photos of Melissa and James together. Each piece of evidence is a blow to their carefully crafted facade. James's face pales as the evidence mounts, while Melissa tries to maintain a calm exterior. Though her fingers are trembling, the prosecution's case is solid. Witnesses testify to seeing Melissa and James together, while forensic accountants detail the stolen funds. Each testimony and piece of evidence reinforces the depth of the betrayal. The room is charged with a mix of tension and anticipation. During a recess, I step outside for a moment to gather my thoughts. The weight of the courtroom's scrutiny feels immense. I think back to the day I first discovered the affair and the stolen money. The shock, the anger, it all comes rushing back. But now with the trial in full swing, there's a sense of purpose and determination that drives me. As I return to the courtroom, I catch Melissa's gaze. There's a flicker of something, regret, perhaps, or is it just the realization of the inevitable? I can't tell, but I'm determined not to let my emotions sway me. This is a battle for truth and justice. When it's my turn to testify, I take the stand with a mix of apprehension and resolve. I recount the discovery of the affair, the stolen funds, and the emotional turmoil I've endured. I hold back nothing. My voice is steady, but my heart races as I lay bare the pain and betrayal I've experienced. Cross-examination is grueling. James's lawyer tries to discredit me, questioning my motives and suggesting that my claims are exaggerated. But I remain steadfast, countering each challenge with clear, undeniable facts. The evidence is overwhelming, and I refuse to let their attempts to undermine me succeed. The courtroom drama unfolds over several days. Melissa and James's defense attempts to argue that the affair was personal and irrelevant to the business case, but Robert skillfully refutes these claims. Each day brings new revelations and deepens the complexity of the case. It's exhausting, but I'm driven by the need to see justice done. One evening, after a particularly tense day in court, I return home to find a message from Robert. It's a brief but promising note. "We've got them cornered, the evidence is solid, we're in the final stretch." Relief and anxiety clash within me. I prepare for the final day of testimony, knowing it will be crucial. The closing arguments are a chance to solidify everything we've presented and drive home the impact of Melissa and James's actions. In the courtroom, Robert delivers a powerful closing statement. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the evidence has shown that Melissa Hart and James Barton orchestrated a scheme that not only violated my client's trust, but also his financial security. Their actions were deliberate and damaging. It's time for them to face the consequences of their betrayal." As Robert speaks, I watch Melissa and James. Their defiance is fading, replaced by a growing realization of the gravity of their situation. The jury deliberates, and I wait, my emotions a tumultuous mix of hope and dread. The verdict is announced. Melissa and James are found guilty. The courtroom erupts in a mixture of relief and subdued celebration. I feel a heavy weight lift off my shoulders, though the scars of this ordeal remain. Melissa and James are led away, their faces etched with a mix of defeat and resignation. The aftermath of the trial is bittersweet. The legal victory is a testament to the strength of my case and the justice I've sought. But the personal impact is profound. The trust and security I once had are irreparably damaged. My business has suffered, and the personal betrayal runs deep. Despite the victory, the road to recovery is just beginning. I start the process of rebuilding my business, focusing on stabilizing and moving forward. It's a daunting task, but I'm determined to overcome the challenges. The betrayal has scarred me, but it has also strengthened my resolve. I'm learning to navigate a new reality, one that requires resilience and adaptation. I find solace in small victories, moments of clarity and peace as I move forward. The journey is far from over, but there's a sense of direction now. I'm taking steps to rebuild, to restore what's been lost, and to reclaim my life. The trial has been a crucible, testing my strength and resolve. It's marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. I'm ready to face the future, to rebuild from the ashes of betrayal, and to find a new path forward. In the quiet moments, I reflect on the journey, on the pain, the battles, and the small victories. The road ahead is uncertain, but I'm determined to forge a new path, one that leads to healing and renewal. The story of betrayal and justice has reached a significant milestone, but my journey towards recovery and rebuilding has just begun. The final confrontation is here, the last act in this grim drama. It's been a whirlwind of legal battles and personal upheavals, but now I'm facing Melissa and James one last time. The courtroom is tense, the atmosphere electric with anticipation. It's time to close this chapter and confront the reality of what has happened. Melissa and James are seated at the defendant's table, their faces etched with a mix of fear and resignation. I can't help but notice how different they look now. More worn, more vulnerable. I take a deep breath, steeling myself for what's to come. Robert, my lawyer, stands beside me. His demeanor is calm, but I can sense the intensity in his eyes. He's been my rock throughout this ordeal, and I trust him completely. Remember, you have every right to be here, and your voice is crucial, he says softly, his words a comfort. I nod, taking a seat in the gallery, my eyes locked on Melissa. She avoids my gaze, her expression a mixture of defiance and regret. James sits beside her, his head bowed. The reality of the situation has clearly hit him hard. The judge enters and everyone rises. Once seated, the judge calls the case. The courtroom quiets down, and the final phase of this long journey begins. Robert stands up to address the court. Your Honor, today we bring closure to a case of profound betrayal and deceit. We seek justice not only for the financial losses suffered, but also for the emotional scars inflicted. Robert's words resonate through the room. I feel a wave of emotion, anger, sadness, but also a glimmer of hope that this will all finally come to an end. The trial has been a relentless battle, but now it's time for the final act. Melissa's defense attorney stands up for his closing argument. His voice is smooth, but there's an edge of desperation. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, while my clients have certainly made mistakes, they are not the monsters portrayed here. This is a case of personal indiscretion rather than criminal intent. The prosecution's narrative is based on emotional responses rather than objective facts. The defense attorney's words feel like a hollow attempt to undermine the overwhelming evidence. I glance at Melissa, who shifts uncomfortably in her seat. She knows the truth, and her facade is cracking under the pressure. Robert's rebuttal is powerful. The evidence speaks for itself. We have documented proof of embezzlement and betrayal. The impact on my client's business and personal life has been profound. Justice demands accountability. As Robert speaks, I'm reminded of everything I've been through. The sleepless nights, the endless search for evidence, the emotional toll. I feel a deep sense of resolve. This isn't just about winning a legal battle. It's about finding closure and moving forward. The jury begins its deliberations. The wait is agonizing. I sit in the hallway, my hands clenched into fists, trying to remain calm. Robert joins me after a while, his expression thoughtful. We've done everything we can. Now it's up to the jury to decide. The minutes stretch into hours. Each tick of the clock feels like a hammer on my nerves. I think back to the times when Melissa and I were happy, the moments of intimacy and connection that now feel so distant. The betrayal has scarred me deeply, and I'm ready to move past it. But I need this final resolution to find peace. When the jury finally returns, the courtroom fills with a palpable tension. The foreman stands and reads the verdict. Guilty on all counts. A wave of relief washes over me. The verdict is a vindication of everything I've endured. Melissa and James's faces are a study in defeat. Melissa's eyes are filled with tears, but there's no sympathy in me. I've seen too much to feel anything but a grim sense of justice. Robert and I exchange a look. There's no celebration, just a quiet acknowledgement of the end of a long and painful journey. I watch as Melissa and James are led away, their futures uncertain. The sense of finality is almost overwhelming. In the days that follow, the impact of the trial begins to settle in. The legal victory is significant, but the personal consequences are still unfolding. My business is in a state of recovery, and I'm working to restore the damage done by James's embezzlement. The road to rebuilding is long, but I'm determined to see it through. I'm also grappling with the emotional aftermath. The betrayal has left deep scars, and it's clear that healing will take time. There are moments when I'm overwhelmed by the memories of what was lost, trust, love, and security. But there are also moments of clarity and strength, reminders that I'm moving forward. I meet with a therapist to help process the emotional fallout. Talking through the pain and betrayal is difficult, but it's a crucial step in finding closure. I learned to navigate the complex feelings of anger and sadness, working towards a place of forgiveness, not for Melissa and James, but for myself. The finality of the trial brings a new beginning. I start to envision a future beyond the shadows of betrayal. There's a sense of liberation in knowing that justice has been served. The focus now is on rebuilding and rediscovering myself. I take steps to reconnect with old friends and interests that had been neglected during the turmoil. It's a small but significant part of reclaiming my life. I invest time in activities that bring me joy and fulfillment, gradually finding a new sense of balance. The journey is far from over, but I'm learning to embrace the future with hope and resilience. The final confrontation with Melissa and James was a necessary chapter in my story, one that has paved the way for healing and growth. I'm ready to turn the page and start a new chapter, one that is defined not by betrayal, but by strength and renewal. The dust has settled. The trial is over, and the courtroom drama has drawn to a close. As I sit in my office, the familiar view from the window now seems different. It's as if the world outside has shifted, and I'm seeing it anew. The weight of the past months has begun to lift, and I'm left with a mix of relief and contemplation. The trial has brought a sense of closure, but the personal journey is far from complete. Melissa and James are gone from my life, but their impact lingers. I find myself reflecting on the path that brought me here. The betrayal, the investigation, the confrontation, and finally, the resolution. The legal battles have concluded with a decisive victory. The court's decision was clear. Melissa and James are held accountable for their actions. Melissa faces significant legal consequences, and James's fate is no less severe. Their lives are forever altered by the revelations of their deceit and embezzlement. The judgment was not just a win in court, it was a symbol of justice served, a validation of the pain I endured. In the aftermath, the recovery begins. My business is slowly stabilizing. The damage inflicted by James's embezzlement was extensive, but with time, I'm rebuilding. The process is meticulous, requiring careful management and strategic decisions. I've surrounded myself with a team that I trust, and together we're working to restore what was lost. There are days when the strain is evident, but each small victory fuels my resolve to move forward. The personal impact is more complex. The emotional scars are deep, and healing is a gradual process. I've sought therapy to help navigate the emotional fallout. The sessions are challenging but necessary. Talking through the betrayal, the loss, and the anger is an essential part of reclaiming my sense of self. The therapist guides me through understanding and processing these emotions, allowing me to find a new equilibrium. I'm also rediscovering who I am outside the confines of this turmoil. I've started reconnecting with old friends and engaging in activities that once brought me joy. It's a way to reclaim parts of my life that were overshadowed by the recent chaos. I find solace in simple pleasures, long walks, quiet evenings with a good book, and spontaneous adventures. Each moment of normalcy is a reminder of the life that awaits beyond the pain. There's a sense of cautious optimism about the future. I'm exploring new opportunities and considering ways to expand my horizons. The experience has taught me the value of resilience and the importance of looking forward. I'm open to new experiences, new connections, and perhaps even new beginnings. The future is uncertain, but it's mine to shape. My personal growth is becoming evident. I've learned to navigate the complexities of trust and vulnerability with a newfound perspective. The experience has forced me to confront my own strengths and limitations. It's a journey of self-discovery that extends beyond the immediate aftermath of the trial. I'm learning to balance forgiveness with self-preservation, to embrace the lessons of the past while moving forward. Reflecting on the journey, I realize that closure is not a single moment, but a continuous process. It's about finding peace within myself and embracing the lessons learned. The trial was a pivotal moment, but the real work lies in the day-to-day efforts of rebuilding and rediscovering. The future is both daunting and promising. There are challenges ahead, and I'm prepared to face them with the strength I've gained. The experience has reshaped my outlook, teaching me the value of resilience and the importance of moving forward with intention. I'm ready to embrace the next chapter, whatever it may bring. As I look out at the world, I see it with new eyes. The past has shaped me, but it does not define me. I'm forging ahead, guided by the lessons learned and the hope for a better future. The journey has been arduous, but it's also been a profound testament to the power of resilience and the possibility of renewal. The story of betrayal and recovery is one chapter in a much larger narrative. It's a story of finding strength in the face of adversity, of reclaiming one's life after profound loss. As I move forward, I carry with me the lessons of this journey, lessons of courage, self-awareness, and hope. I'm stepping into the future with a sense of purpose and determination. The path ahead is mine to chart, and I'm ready to embrace it with open eyes and a renewed spirit. The journey continues, but the narrative is no longer defined by the shadows of betrayal. It's defined by the strength to overcome and the hope for what lies ahead.